because I had that track record from China,
Hmm.
and I was sending in my applications, but I was having so many rejections, from school.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Voice of Internet Student with K. Today, I have a very handsome gentleman here with me. So, I'm going to ask our guest to introduce himself. He's going to tell us his full name, the country he's from, and the country he's currently studying in.
All right. Thank you so much for hosting me. My name is Julius Ankamafio, and I'm from Ghana. And currently, I'm in the United States and at the Ohio University, where I'm pursuing chemical engineering with a PhD track. So currently, that's just a brief intro about me. So yeah, thank you so much.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, you've even made my work even easier. You've gone ahead to talk about your school and the course you're studying. Okay, so Mr. Julius, kindly tell us, how did it all happen? When did you move abroad? Kindly give us a brief intro
Okay,
about that.
so I moved abroad, way back in 2017, after high school, when you have the, like the desire to travel abroad, to school abroad and all that. And I went to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And because, I had no funding, to school abroad. So I tried to, stay local and go to KNUST. And I met a very good agent who came my way, during that first year, and he introduced China to me. And so that was how come I started, like going into all these travel abroad, travel and tour and back and forth. And he found a way to, get me to China, to pursue my dreams in schooling abroad. And so I went to China, and I stayed in China for like 4 to 5 years, where I studied chemical engineering for my bachelor's degree. When I like when I like it was done, you know, I went back home, you know, and I reapplied again to the US to do a direct PhD program in chemical engineering. And God being so good, here we are today. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So wait, so your study abroad journey actually started from China?
Yeah, I mean, it started from China,
Wow.
China, the beginning. Yeah, China was the beginning of the journey of studying abroad. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So how was the experience in China? How was it like? Because people out there have the perception that studying in China is not the best, or it's not the best option. How was it?
I think, to tell you the truth, honestly, when I was going to China, I told myself that I was never going to study in Chinese language, because that language was really hard. Yeah, that language was really hard, and coming, and then COVID hit all of a sudden, and we saw that
Mm,
it's a different ball game. You have to learn the language, to help you go around and more back and forth. And so I ended up in a situation where the school I was the only foreigner at the time, where I had to join the Chinese students, to study Chinese,
wait,
and to
so
study
you did a
chemical.
program in Chinese?
Yeah, I had to do my chemical engineering in Chinese because
That's crazy.
there was
That's crazy.
there was no English medium for me, so I had to still stick to my path that I wanted to be a chemical engineer someday. So the options were laid for me, but I think it was a very great decision I made. Studying in China, it really gives you the ability to have diversified schools of thought, and learning from these Chinese professors. They helped me a lot.
Hmm.
I was able to publish a few papers with them, and that was what gave me
Amazing.
my shot.
Amazing.
That was what gave me my shot in the US. And so
Wow. Wow.
uh, yeah, that's what I would say about China. It is a great experience. Like the people
It
there,
was it was a
you
stepping
know,
stone for you. It was a
yeah. I
stepping
mean, it was
stone.
it was a stepping stone. Like
Amazing.
yeah, it was a stepping stone for me. honestly.
Wow, wow. Okay, so after China, you said you went back home and you reapplied. How did you take that decision of going back home? Because most people come to study abroad and they are hesitant about going home. How did you make up that decision, or it was already planned that you were going home and going to apply again to go somewhere else? How did you make that decision?
So I got to a point where I had no plans of going back home actually. But then, due to some unforeseen circumstances back home,
Mm,
like I had to go back home to be able to see my family because after moving away from home for so many years, I think it was time for me to go back home. So,
okay.
when I finished my bachelor's degree, and I planned that I'm just going home and I'll come back to China for my master's degree. And guess what? I went back home. Um, Plans changed. I was like, no, my friends, they travel to the US to study a direct PhD program, even if you have your bachelor's degree. So I'm like, no, I really
Mm,
want to give this a shot. I really want to give this a shot. Let me just lock in, get all the documents right, stay in Ghana for a year, try to get an experience because you will need that. You will need that
mm.
experience.
Yes, that's true.
You
Working
need that,
experience, it
you need
counts.
that experience. So I had to, readjust myself, readjust my, my perception about, how to treat, schooling and all that. And I sent in my applications to the US and it was really successful.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so let's talk about your application to study in the US. How did you go about it? Did you get the supervisor or you just applied? And how did you go through the whole application process?
Yeah, studying in the US is a very great opportunity. And for somebody to pick you up and give you admission, it means that you have a very great potential. And the potential is
Mm.
by putting in the right application. And so you have to get the knowledge out there. So I went online and I went to search for
Did the
all the
research?
information I need.
Yes,
I
yes.
did all the information because I had that track record from China,
Hmm.
and I was sending in my applications, but I was having so many rejections, from school. So I've had that experience before. So when I came back home, I was like, no, let me just lock in, get more adequate information, get a right source. And I began to email professors every single day. Every single
Wow.
day, when I get opportunity, I'll send a professor an email. I send them multiple emails, and sometimes some people will not reply. Some professors will not reply you. Uh,
Mm,
it's part of the process, but you don't have to give up. You just don't have to give up. You have to be relentless, and keep going. So I emailed Ohio University, one of the professors, and I told him I was interested in corrosion and all that, and he gave me the shot. It was like, look, put your applications in there. We would have the graduate advisor or the graduate director for the program,
hmm.
email back to you. If you are a potential candidate, would just schedule an interview with you. So it was just rapid. I didn't pay anything. All those other schools, all those times that I was in China that I was applying, I was paying money. But when I came back home and
Mm.
I
Did
did
it
the
by yourself.
investigations. I did the workouts. I was just trying. I didn't pay a dime for all my applications. You know,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
I
This is
got
what I
to.
keep telling people that this application thing, you can do it by yourself. I remember me trying to get my master's in China. I did the application, everything by myself. I didn't go around finding agents to do anything for me. All the information you need is online. It's just about you sitting down, doing your own research, reading what's needed, and if you need help, you can go ask someone who's already in that field or in that sector and just get some one or two clarifications on what you need to do. That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so yes. Okay, so when did you get the acceptance from the professor? You know,
So I think somewhere in September, in the second week of September, I started
second
my.
week of September. Okay.
When I sent the graduate director my transcripts, He waived
Mm-hmm.
my application fees, and
Wow.
a week later, I got a call from the university, and they were like, "Hey, we see that you are a good potential. Hey, look, we're gonna do great things. We want to schedule an interview with you. So
Mm,
give us a day that is okay for you. Somewhere
wow. Wow.
in the middle of November." So I was at workplace, and I was like, "Wow, man, this is a very beautiful opportunity." So like I had to lock in, because when they schedule an interview with you, they want to see if you match the profile you brought to the table. You know, if
Exactly. Exactly.
if if every single thing you spoke about in your CV is the real you, then you have to
Mm,
match it. Yeah. So
amazing.
I
So
did the
like,
work, that.
can you give my audience like some of the questions? Can you tell my audience some of the questions that you were asked, so that because someone is also waiting for his or her interview and the person is panicking, not knowing what to do, what to prepare, how to prepare for the interview. Can you guys give us like a sample of the questions? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one of the basic interview questions that they're gonna ask you is just to tell you about yourself, and
Mm,
they ask you to introduce yourself, and you should be
okay.
able touch a little bit about all the information you give them during your application process, because they have the documents, they have the statement of purpose, they have your
Mm-hmm.
CV,
Mm-hmm.
everything. So you have to be able to introduce yourself, not just in two sentences, but in about 1 minute. You should be able to give them an impression, because how you give them like that introduction determines how they're going to take things, and how the mood is going to change, and they are going to ask you some of the questions. So like, yeah, stuff like that. I think the other question they also asked me was that, how's my experience in China. Did I do any
Wow.
research? So I think the research I did in China, yeah, I was not serious about that research, but I remember that research, man. That was a stepping stone. That was how come the game changed, man.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. They want someone with research experience. It's not only about
yeah,
your academic performances. They want someone with research experience that can work independently. That's true. That's true.
that's it. So I gave them all that experience, and I'd gone online to find out the kind of research they do, and I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
also picked some kind of like keywords that I did in China. So I picked those keywords, and I linked
Wow.
it together with their research, just to make sure that we are on the same page. You know, even
Exactly. Exactly.
even stuff that I didn't know, I would presume that I'm working on it. I'm trying to study on it.
Hmm.
Give them an update and all that, just to see that you are ready.
Amazing. 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 All right. All right. Thanks for that tip over there. Okay. So what was your first week like, and what shocked you the most when you arrived in the United States?
What shocked me the most? Um, what's really shocked me? I would say, to tell you the truth, one of the things that really shocked me was because I came from China, and
Okay.
in China, the transportation system, yeah, oh, it's on a different level. Trust me, it is
That's
on a
true.
different
That's true.
level, because in China, they have the subways, they have the fast speed train. Anywhere I tell you,
I can attest to that. I can attest to that. I'm
like,
in Shanghai. I can attest to that. Yeah.
yeah, like it's really accessible. But I get to the
Mm-hmm.
United States, and I'm like, I now have to wait for another like bus. I miss the
How
bus.
long?
It's like, the bus, it almost takes like 2 hours to Athens. It takes like 2 hours, and
Wow.
like, yeah, you're waiting for somebody to drive from Athens to Columbus to come pick you up, and you have to wait. But when you're in China, it's like, there's a fast speed train. You can just use the fast speed train. It gets to even maybe your school. The distance between the train station to your school is even maybe about 5 minutes, or 10 minutes,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something
That's
like
true.
that.
That's true.
And it's like, when you get to the United States, you need to have a car. Like, it's like they have to,
It's a necessity.
yeah, it's like you need to have a car. So I
It's a
was looking at, I was
necessity.
like, wow, like I was like, no, man. But the place is lovely. I tell you, like the weather was different. Like the weather was different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the weather was so different. Like it was so
Wow.
real. Like the grass, like the forest reserves. It's a very beautiful country. Yeah, honestly.
The things you used to see on TV, on in movies, now you were there experiencing them physically.
I think about 2 years ago, somebody posted a
Mm-hmm.
video. He was in New York, and he posted a video. I saw the beautiful city of New York. I was like, man, God, I've got to be in this place.
You got to
By
be
that
there.
time, I've got to be in this place. And look, I'm here right now. I just give God all the glory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Give God the glory. So yeah, it's a very beautiful experience here right now. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So, what was harder than you expected, and what was easier than you expected?
Um, what was easier than I expected? I think I think nothing is easy here, because because I was thinking I was gonna get it on a silver platter. Now I'm just coming to the school. Everything's just gonna go well. But now I realize that I have to work and work and work and work, because over here
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they need results. They need results,
The
and
demand for them.
they demand you to do your work, do your own work, you know, not to
Yes.
plagiarize or copy and paste, that kind of a
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to work, man. It was the first time waking up. I was like, man, you have to dig, 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 dig deeper, man. Stay up late, and working and working and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so like over here, you really have to work. You really have to work. I'm talking about academic activities. If you really have to maintain your
Wow.
scholarship, you have to be able to maintain your GPA and make sure that you give them results in your research, all those kind of things, because they are sponsoring you, and
It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah, they're
you
sponsoring
have
you, so they
to.
wouldn't want you to waste their resources. They want to see results. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, how different is the education system compared to home?
Oh, I think the educational system here, it's very good, because back home you get to have more of the theoretical aspect of it, and even with that, even with the theory back home, they want you to produce whatever you are being taught, by the book. They go by the
Exactly
book.
the same thing.
So if it is x plus x is equal to 2x, they want you to produce that. But now over here, they give you x plus x, and they want you to
Mm-hmm.
assume like how you could come up with a whole assumption that could make sense, and such that even if your answer is not even what is in the book, they see what you have done, and it's like, this guy, what he's done, he makes a little bit of sense. I want to be able to give him a credit for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
they give credit to your thinking, like your creative thoughts.
Mm,
So like your thought process, your thought process, how you come up with solutions, how you solve problems, and all those kind of things. And they make all those things available to you, even if it is the theory aspect, you still have an aspect to the lab, the facilities. You
mm-hmm.
get to see how some experiments are being run and all that, and that
Mm.
in collaboration helps to improve on your studies.
Amazing. So in summary, what I say is that they encourage innovative thinking. You be
That's,
innovative.
that's true. That's true. They really
Amazing.
encourage that part,
Amazing.
because they want you to do your own work. They always want you to be independent. As a PhD student, you have to
That's
learn
a
how to
word.
be independent.
Independent.
So you have to be able to, come up with your own idea, and make sure that the
Mm-hmm.
fundamental concepts are, in line, like you understand what you're doing and you got it
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So to my audience, you see those who are thinking that, oh, I want to apply for a PhD in the United States so I can leave Nigeria, I can leave Ghana, I can leave Kenya, I can leave wherever I am to go to the United States to be on a PhD scholarship. It's not easy. You got to put in the work. So if you're not ready to put in the work, then don't go for PhD.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
what he's telling you.
that,
Don't go for
that's true,
PhD if
man.
you.
If you're not really ready, like ready to work yet, don't even think about it. Because you know,
Don't even think about it.
yeah, don't really think about it. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, okay. So now let's go to your daily life and money, the money aspect. So how expensive is life for student there, and what's your monthly budget like?
I think my monthly budget is, about 2K, like $2,000. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say not that much because I am being employed as a graduate research assistant. And
Okay,
so
okay.
that is my scholarship position, working as a research assistant in my research group. And every month they get to pay us, on bi-weekly basis. Bi-weekly means that in every 2 weeks you get to have a paycheck. And
Wow.
over, yeah, they pay you to also make sure that you can be able to take care of your own rent, make sure that you take care of your own bill. So out of that 2K, you have to be able to budget for, all those expenses. And I say the living here is not really extravagant. If you really want to survive here in the United States, there are a whole lot of beautiful avenues to be able to
Mm-hmm.
manage your expenses, because
Mm,
like the food has a lot of programs like the food pantries, where
mm-hmm.
there are availability of, groceries. You can get free food.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
every month, in 2 weeks, you could visit the food pantry. You have access to free food, so you do not worry
Wow.
about, like, kind of stuff. So I think the life here it's quite normal. Like it's just very
Mm,
really manage stuff on your own.
okay, okay. Amazing. So you talked about being a research assistant.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Okay, so what's the difference between being a research assistant and teaching assistant? Because I've seen that in applications they tend to ask which one you would be comfortable with.
Yeah, so that would depend on where your funded program is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going to be a teaching assistant, I am a graduate assistant, a graduate research assistant, which means that
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do more in research. If you are a teaching assistant, which means that you will be taking up some teaching roles, like
Mm,
times where the professor is not around, you have to go and teach college students or undergrad students, stuff like that. But with a research assistantship, I would have to be in the lab. I would have to make sure that I'm always in the lab and producing results. Get to the lab, run some experiments, bring some results, bring some data, analyze them, with my research supervisor and all that. And that is the difference between a research assistant and a teaching assistant. Yeah. But even if you are a
mm-hmm.
PhD student and you are a graduate research assistant, you are required to be a TA. You are required to be a teaching assistant over the years of your program. You are required to serve at least 1 year of TA, 1 year of being a teaching assistant in
It
any
makes
of the
sense.
courses,
It makes
in any
sense.
courses. So that's what the program is about.
Okay, so let's say you are getting funded through the teaching assistantship. Does it mean that you don't have to go to the lab to do the research that the supervisor is partaking in?
I mean, if the nature of your program demands research, then you would have to do research, because if it is not demanding research, then you wouldn't have to do research, because the research that I am doing is because they are paying me through the research fund, and that research fund is
Mm,
multiple companies like Shell, Total Energies, British Petroleum. They are funding my research group, and so through that research, they pay me through that source. And if you're going to be paid through a teaching assistantship, maybe your course or your program does not really need research, and so they wouldn't have to fund you through the research, and they have to fund you based on the time you are serving as a teaching assistantship for your position. So normally that kind of teaching assistantship comes through to the master's level programs, like the yearly based programs, like a year or two programs, those kind of short programs. most of these students they have access to have this kind of teaching assistantship position jobs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let's go to mental health and social life. So did you experience have you experienced any homesickness so far?
Oh, so it's like over here we call it like cultural shock. Like it's a cultural
Mm-hmm.
shock, and just like you have to be able to have the balance. Like the people here are lovely, honestly, but I'm really an introvert guy, so normally
Okay.
I'm always, even I'm not in the lab, I'm in my room, maybe playing video games or watching a movie or maybe doing some studies, and sometimes go to the mall, explore new places, hiking and all that.
Mm,
I think they are nice people, just to sometimes the kind of help they give you, it's just so surprising, like a man walked up to me, he was like, "Hey, where are you going? I could give you a lift," stuff like that.
wow.
Like they are kind of like nice people. The Americans here are kind of
Wow.
like people,
Wow.
so
Wow.
I think it's nice. But the cultural shock is there, definitely you are from different backgrounds and different
Mm-hmm.
uh, place, and so you have to find a way of adapt and adjust yourself to be able
Mm.
balance and go with the flow.
Cultural shock. So what was one thing that really shocked you about their culture that was very different
Um,
from yours?
So one thing that it really shocked me was that they make sure that you are mentally stable, and they take care of whatever situation you have. For instance, if you cannot go to class, and you tell them that this and this is what is happening. If you are sick or something like this is happening to you, they want to know. They want to know how possibly best they could really help you, and
Wow.
they are always at your doorstep. Even if you need money, they know how to help you to get money. Like they show you all the steps. They are always with you. In times of need.
Amazing.
I think for what I've realized, that they are kind of like a reliable people, and you really have to
Mm,
open up to them, and they might be the best possible people around to help you in time of need. Yeah.
wow. 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 Okay, so what's one lesson you've learned the hard way being an international student?
One thing I've learned being a hard way is learn to do things by yourself. Do things on your own.
Mm,
Because honestly, just last semester, I was really, penalized for, like an academic misconduct. Because I thought it was normal. Like I thought, back then in Ghana or wheresoever, it was easy. You
mm-hmm.
could just
Mm-hmm.
literally go on chat GPT, get some sources and just try to use them.
Mm-hmm.
But over here you have to learn things the hard way and do it for yourself, because they want you to show ownership, and they want you to be independent, such that when you come up
Authentic work.
at the end of your PhD, when
Mm-hmm.
you are meeting this big organization, you know what you're talking about. You know that this is your own work. You can be able to build up from there. And this is where
Mm,
you learn things the hard way and learn the skill, because you need the skill. You need that potential to be able to exhibit, whatever, skill you have to wherever you might find yourself in any part of the world, to be able to use it. So
mm.
you have to do it on your own. Yeah.
Wow. 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 Amazing. Okay, now let's talk about the future plans. So do you plan on staying after school? Do you plan on staying or do you plan on coming back home to use your expertise to help the country?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, um, well, my future goals are to be able to get that experience here, because America is a capitalist country,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, that's true.
you have vast range of opportunities in terms of organizations to help you
Mm-hmm.
grow, in your career, in wherever that you would want to grow. Like, because at the end of the PhD, your plan is to be able to, first get a stable job, get that experience that you need, and you see if you can also, transcend that kind of relational uh, thoughts to maybe back home in Ghana. What can you also do to improve the lives of other people as well? Maybe
Mm,
bring up your own startup. Bring up your own startup. I really encourage that a lot. Bringing that kind
yes,
of
yes.
creative mindset and trying to solve a problem in your country or anywhere at all you find yourself. That's the goal. The goal is to
Wow,
be a
wow.
be a bring something to the table. To be able to help other parts of the world as well. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. People have this misconception that once you study for a PhD means that you are only confined to becoming a professor or being in the academia setting. But then you are talking about going to the industry. Can you please clear that area?
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people think that way. Once you get your PhD, then you are on the road to becoming a professor. But I believe the game has changed now, and
Mm,
most of these companies now they want to go for PhD students, because they
wow.
are they are doing most of the research, and so the companies that they fund our research group, they really they also have other labs, somewhere, but then they have other students who are working on the same projects, and so you are doing the research,
Mm,
you are growing in that field, making sure that you understand all the fundamental concepts, all the in and out of every other research projects that you would have during during your PhD program. And so some can go into academia, some can go into industry, and based on
uh-huh,
your
uh-huh.
interest, I would love to be in the industry for sure and to be able to contribute to,
Mm.
corrosion.
Amazing, 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 amazing. You keep talking about corrosion. Is your research focused on corrosion?
Yes, my research is highly focused on multi-phase flow and be able to detect corrosion in pipelines. Yeah. So
Mm. Okay,
that's been
okay.
my research.
Wow,
when
wow,
I
wow.
say when I say multi-phase flow, I'm talking about if you have a pipeline that you have
Mm-hmm.
oil, gas flowing in there, there's a high risk of corrosion that could happen, and
Yes, yes.
when the pipeline is exposed to a corrosive environment, the pipeline could cause leakages, and that could bring
Mm.
a huge cost to some of these oil and gas companies, and that is
That's
why I
true.
say
That's true.
it's of massive interest right now. And
Mm.
I am in the ICMT. I'm in the Institute of Multiphase and Corrosion Center. It is one of the world leading facilities for corrosion in solving
Wow,
corrosion
wow.
issues in relation to oil and gas pipeline. You can look it up. Those of you who want to apply, or you're almost welcome. Just get all the information you need out there,
Mm.
and you can also send in your applications. And I believe you would all have to solve problems together.
Amazing, amazing. I want you to give my audience one tip. What you talk about applying when you're in China. When you're in China, you're applying to the United States to get PhD program, but then it wasn't going through. So you went back to Ghana and you did your own research. So what was that mistake that you identified that this is the mistake I was doing when I was in China? This is a mistake I was this was hindering my acceptance level or my acceptance to become a PhD student. What was it?
So my hindrance was that I thought because the portal is open to me, I can just put in my application, and that
Mm.
once I send in my application, I thought that was it. I thought that was it until I realized that look, you have to dig deeper. You have to find a professor. You have to find who wants to employ you,
Exactly.
because the professors are the people that they pick the students. They pick the potential. So you have to
Mm.
send the professor your CV. You have to send him your transcript. You have to send him adequate information that the moment he opens his email, you have to even look at the time zones. You have to go
Yeah,
out there and look at the
yeah.
time zone, like make sure that every 8 a.m. your email appears. You are the first person that appear on their email. You know,
Wow.
do a lot of hard work in making sure that you are going to make sure that they find you, and that's the work that you have to do.
Mm.
That's going back home in Ghana. That's what helped me to get
Wow.
through this
Wow.
situation.
Wow. So my to my audience, what he's talking about is the code email where you enter the professor's inbox and you drop a quick or brief summary about yourself and what you intend to do and what they and how their research aligns with your interest, and then you submit your CV and your, even if you have a research proposal, you can even add it to it. You submit your CV, your transcript, and then if they're interested in hiring you, they get back to you. PhD is like, it's like a job. That's how I call it. It's like a job, right? It's like they're
Yeah,
employing
it
you.
is. They're employing you. Yeah.
So you don't just wake up and go apply on the portal because the portal is open. It doesn't work that way. So how about for masters? For masters, you also need a supervisor.
Yeah, for masters too, you need a supervisors. You need a supervisor.
Mm,
Sorry, you need a supervisor because once you are going in for a postgraduate program, you need a supervisor who is ready to fund you, because funding
mm,
is the most important aspect of if you're coming in with your own financial background,
mm-hmm.
you are economically sound, I'll say. If you have the money and you want to do your
Pay the
masters, you are
fees.
welcome. But
You're
to where I'm
welcome. Yeah,
from and to the audience I'm speaking with, if you are less than down and you want to apply for masters, it is not easy to get a funded program in masters. But
mm-hmm.
if you are able to reach out to professors and you tell them about your situation briefly and they are interested in you, they are going to pick you up and they are going to push you in their research group. And I tell you, your
Wow,
career
wow,
in for
wow,
yeah.
wow. Okay, so Mr. Julius, any final message for international students watching? Do you have any final message to them?
My final message is that there's always more room for improvement, and
Exactly.
nothing is too hard for God to do. And I would say that you would have to um, be prayerful enough, for God to direct your path.
Mm,
Wherever you
yes,
are,
yes.
wherever you are in your life right now, is a milestone for you, and so you have to be able to build up upon that. If you are in Ghana, if you are in Asia, if you are in anywhere at all, and you want to apply to the United States, make sure that you put in the effort, the necessary effort, get the right document,
Exactly.
and make sure
Information.
that there is always access to information on the internet, so make sure that you
Yes.
use this powerful internet tool that we have in this
Mm-hmm.
21st
Mm-hmm.
century to be able to make sure that you give out the best and adequate application that you can ever put in. Talk of
Wow. Wow.
statement of
Wow.
purpose, CV, like your certificates and all these kind of things. Just try and get unnecessary information. I tell you, hey, you're gonna have a lovely journey, and
Amazing. Thank you, Mr. Julius, for being on our podcast. Do you have any shout outs you want to give? You don't have anyone you want to say hello? Happy New Year to. Hey, and by the way, Happy New Year to my audience. This is our first video, and if you are watching, kindly like, subscribe, and click on the notification button. Yeah. So, Mr. Julius, any shout outs you want to give out?
oh, I don't have any shout outs, but I mean, I would like to give shout outs to you, for making this work, and
I appreciate it. I
uh,
appreciate it.
making sure that you put this information out there for other people who also need help, and that's the most important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
to anybody there out there watching, I hope that you'll be blessed and you'll be encouraged, to not to give up. If you want to study abroad, make sure that you go through the right process. Make sure that you go through the right channel. It is very important for your track record, Because if you want to travel
Exactly.
any part in the world, they need that track record. So do things the right way, and your
Yes.
life will never be
Yes.
the same. Yeah.
Wow. 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 Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video. Stay safe. Happy New Year. Bye
Happy New Year.
bye.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. All right.
Happy
Bye.
New Year.